don't have any inside information.
The lady that did it, she got in there. I mean, she made it happen.
And he doesn't shy away from opinion.
And I do enjoy drinking cold beer at ballparks. So if that makes me a baseball fan, then I'm a diehard baseball fan.
It's Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
And a very good Friday evening to you, Jacksonville. It is Hacker After Dark, Before Dark. In for Blue tonight here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM with JJ LaSelva. The Hacker Ryan Green with you. Jaguar rookie minicamp going on. We were down there earlier today. Had the opportunity to catch up one-on-one with Jaguar fifth-round pick DeAndre Prince. We'll bring you that conversation in less than 10 or so minutes here on Hacker After Dark. Really enjoyed getting to meet DeAndre, getting to talk with him a little bit. I think he's a guy that'll be well-received, well-liked by the Jaguar fan base. He was one of 9 draft picks that participated today, a handful of other undrafted free agents, and some veterans scattered in, including a 5-time Pro Bowler in Jarvis Landry, who was down there working out with the team in hopes of getting signed. So we're going to do a lot on Jaguar rookie minicamp. Doug Peterson met the media earlier today as well. I came away with a couple of interesting thoughts from what Doug Peterson had to say. We'll play you some of his comments coming up shortly as well. Guest lineup tonight looks like this. Max Chadwick of Pro Football Focus. Now, Max works for PFF, but he's the college football analyst for PFF. So we're going to talk about the Jaguar draft class. We're also going to spend a little bit of time on the Gators, the Noles, the Hurricanes, and the Bulldogs. So Max Chadwick of PFF, their main college football guy, he comes up in about 20 minutes or so. Also, Justin Barney, my buddy from Channel 4, will join us at the top of the 7 o'clock hour. So we're absolutely jam-packed. Again, Jaguar rookie corner DeAndre Prince joins us in less than 10 minutes. Every night here on Hacker After Dark, we do kick it off with a big deal of the night. And JJ LaSelva, let's do that right now.
Time now for the big deal of the night.
What's the big deal?
What is the big deal?
No big deal.
It is a big deal.
On Hacker After Dark.
All right, understanding it was about 30 guys in helmets and shorts today. I mean, that's what it was. No pads, no contact. It is what it is, but it's what we have in the month of May, rookie minicamp. So take my observations, take everything you've heard today from others, and just realize it's a glorified practice with no pads on. All right, having said that, a couple of observations. Number one, I really like Jarvis Landry on this team. And I'll tell you why I think they should sign Jarvis Landry after rookie minicamp. I don't know if Jarvis Landry would make the ultimate 53-man roster. I have absolutely no idea. I would tend to believe maybe he wouldn't, although I think there would be a battle there. I want Jarvis Landry here for the next 3.5 months to be around Brian Thomas. That's what I want. You take 90 guys to training camp, all right? 90 guys to training camp. Take one of those 90 spots, sign Jarvis Landry after this minicamp, and if for no other reason, just have him mentor Brian Thomas for the next 3.5 months. Because today down at rookie minicamp, wherever Brian Thomas was, Jarvis Landry was there. Wherever Jarvis Landry was, Brian Thomas wasn't far behind. Both wide receivers, both LSU guys, one a 5-time Pro Bowler, the other one just getting in to begin his career in the National Football League. If you sign Jarvis Landry, you keep him here through OTAs, through minicamp, through training camp, through the preseason. How unbelievably valuable that would be for Brian Thomas. Now, can Jarvis Landry make the 53-man roster? Well, let's think about it. Christian Kirk is here. Gabe Davis is here. Brian Thomas is here. That's 3. How many wide receivers will they keep? Will they keep 6? All right, let's play off of that number. Duvernay is going to be here, and he's a wide receiver. That's 4. Then you get into the Parker Washingtons, the Elijah Cooks, Seth Williams, Tim Jones. I'll tell you another kid that stuck out to me today here in a moment at wide receiver as well. But let's just say that Duvernay, Thomas, Davis, and Kirk are shoo-ins to make the roster. I believe they are. That's 4 of your wide receiver spots. Is Parker Washington a lock to make this team? I think he probably will make it, but is he a lock? I don't know if he's a lock. At the end of the day, he's a 6th-round pick from last year. That is probably not going to be one of your return guys this year because of Duvernay and Keelan Robinson. So one of the reasons I thought they drafted Parker Washington was to not only play wide receiver, but to kind of be the fill-in or the replacement for Jamal Agnew. That apparently is not the case. Duvernay is the replacement for Jamal Agnew, and they spend a 5th-round pick on a guy, Keelan Robinson. That's essentially a big part of what he did at the University of Texas. So if Parker Washington isn't necessarily in the plans in the return game, what does he have to do in the wide receiver game to ensure he's on the roster? So I wouldn't put Parker Washington necessarily as a lock. The other guys, Elijah Cooks, Tim Jones, Seth Williams, certainly none of those guys are locks. Now, what they have going for them that Landry doesn't is they're considerably younger, and they will give you something on special teams. I don't think Jarvis Landry at 31 years old, he's going to be 32 during the year, I don't think he's going to give you a lot in the kickoff coverage game, all right, or the punt coverage unit. So when you're a wide receiver 4 or a wide receiver 5, you kind of need to be a special teamer as well. Jarvis Landry is not going to do that. That was my argument with Zay Jones, why you didn't keep him. He cost a lot, and he wasn't going to give you much on special teams. But I don't think it's crazy to think Landry could make the 53. If he does, that's gravy. What I want Jarvis Landry here for is the next 3.5 months to just be around who you hope is the future at wide receiver, and that is Brian Thomas. But it was striking today. Brian Thomas was wearing number 7. Jarvis Landry was wearing number 6. They always seem to be right next to each other in the drills and gassers after practice. I mean, they were right there, hanging out together for the entire hour plus of practice. Every year during OTAs, I usually come up with my guy for the offseason, right? That's my guy. And my guy is usually somebody under the radar, an undrafted free agent, an under-the-radar veteran. My claim to fame, and thankfully Leon Searcy was there when I said this a couple of years ago. I went out to training camp like 5 years ago, or I guess it was OTAs, and I said, Leon, 42 is my guy. I like that guy. I don't know who it is, but I like him. Turns out his name was Andrew Wingard. He's had quite the career for himself here in Jacksonville. I've had a lot of my guys over the past years that really didn't materialize into very much. In fact, I think last year my guy was Coy Cronk on the offensive line, and that didn't seem to matter very much. So I won't brag that it happens every year, but I did hit with Wingard. I won't do that until OTAs, till I get a good look at all the veterans as well, but I got to tell you, this Joshua Cephas kid, this wide receiver from Texas San Antonio, he looks the part. I understand now why a lot of people were surprised he wasn't drafted. I have no idea why he didn't get a combine invite. Now, I know it's a loaded wide receiver room, as we just mentioned, but keep your eye on 19. As an undrafted free agent, Joshua Cephas out of Texas San Antonio, he's my leader in the clubhouse for my guy, at least of the rookies that I saw today. Again, off the radar, under the radar. I really like Cephas out of Texas San Antonio. Showed me some things today. Another guy that showed me some things was DeAndre Prince. 5th-round pick out of Ole Miss, one of 6 guys the Jaguars drafted out of the Southeastern Conference. Every day, 1010XL is down at rookie minicamp, OTAs, minicamp, and then certainly training camp. We will bring you one-on-one interviews. I had the opportunity after practice today to talk with DeAndre Prince. Let's bring you that conversation right now. 5th-round pick out of Ole Miss. Here's DeAndre Prince with me on Hacker After Dark. Jaguar rookie minicamp, day number 1. We got Jaguar 5th-round pick DeAndre Prince here with us on 1010XL. DeAndre, welcome to Jacksonville, man.
Man, appreciate it, man. I'm blessed to be here, man. Happy for this opportunity, ready to work, get conditioned, get in good shape, and do things I need to do.
How was practice number 1 for you?
It was fun. Coach had us doing all type of things, but, I had fun with it. Just learning to have fun with the process.
2 weeks, you were a collegiate athlete, then you get drafted, then you're coming to Jacksonville, you got to make arrangements to get here. I mean, what have these last 14 days been like?
I mean, it's been interesting. Coming from Mississippi, man, it's been very interesting to make this transition from Mississippi to Florida. Honestly, I'm just taking it on with a heavy heart and making sure that I tell myself how blessed I am every day and thank God for this opportunity every day.
Southeastern Conference player, right? A lot of guys were drafted out of the SEC. I think 6 of the 9 were SEC guys. What did the SEC do to prepare you for the National Football League?
Just kind of got us prepared mentally. We have so much mental support. Mental health is a huge problem with college athletes, and I feel like SEC prepared us, for this moment and for this mental capacity for us to be successful.
Jarian Jones, round 3, you in round 5. That's kind of the talk among the fan base. Jones and Prince and Jones. What has your relationship been? Did you know Jarian before this process?
Oh, yeah. Me and Jarian knew each other since high school. Kind of played in the same all-star game, Mississippi, Alabama. We came out together in our high school in 2019. So I've always known Jarian. We have a very strong relationship. It's just getting stronger and stronger, and the chemistry is getting even more better.
Ryan Nielsen, brand new defensive coordinator here. I know you're very new. You just probably met him within the last couple of days. What's your thought on Ryan Nielsen and how you fit into his scheme?
He likes to compete, and I love to compete. Man coverage is, something that I love to do, and it's obviously something that he loves to do. He loves to, attack every day, dominate on tackles, and that's a corner that I want to be. That's who I want to be described as when somebody say my name.
Have you got to meet Tyson Campbell, Ronald Darby, any of the veterans yet?
No, sir. We get to meet on Monday. I look forward to, introducing myself and being open and listening to what they have to tell me, learning from them.
Final moments, initial thoughts of Jacksonville, the city itself. I know you haven't been here that long, but what are your early impressions?
Jacksonville is pretty cool. It's pretty laid back. It's like me. I kind of, stay out the way. But, it's a lot of festivities that you can do, activities and things like that, can help your body and all sorts of things, trainers and stuff like that. So I feel good with all these resources.
Final question. Let Jaguar fans get to know you a little bit. What does DeAndre Prince like to do away from the football field? What are some of your hobbies?
Anything that got something to do with running. I really like to run, basketball. I like to play a little video game sometimes. But mainly I like to, do a little meditation every night. So those are my 3 top hobbies right there.
DeAndre, welcome to Jacksonville, man. We'll be watching.
Thank you, man. Pleasure to be here.
There you go, DeAndre Prince. Thank you to the Jaguars PR staff for hooking us up here on Hacker After Dark with that interview. Impressive young man. Enjoyed that conversation. Look, the cornerback room's an interesting one. We talk so much about the big 3, which I guess right now is Tyson Campbell, Ronald Darby, Darnell Savage. But think about the 6 guys behind them right now. They're all like 25 years old or younger. Gregory Jr., Monteric Brown, Christian Braswell, Eric Hallett, Jarian Jones, and DeAndre Prince. There's a lot of youth, right? Not a lot of experience there. I guess the most experienced guy is Brown because he started a game or 2 last year when Campbell was hurt. So I still think a veteran corner would be good for this team, but there is no doubt they're going to have to cut. The Jaguars are 2 or 3 corners that they invested draft picks in. They drafted Braswell and Howard. They drafted Brown and Jr., and they're not cutting Jones or Prince. So it's going to be some tough decisions in the corner room, no question about that. A lot of competition. Maybe some of the most competition on the roster will be for those final, 3, 4, 5 corner spots on the 53-man roster. It's all Jaguars pretty much all evening here on Hacker After Dark. We will keep you updated on the NBA playoffs. Couple of big game 3s tonight, Indiana and New York in Indianapolis. Pacers desperately need to win, otherwise they go down 3-0. That tips off at 7 o'clock. Likewise, the defending world champions are on the ropes. Denver at Minnesota. Minnesota won 2 games in Denver. A win tonight would put Denver down 3-0, and as we know, no one has ever come back from 0-3 down in the NBA playoffs in the history of the NBA. So Denver definitely needs to win tonight if they want any chance of defending that world championship. We'll keep you updated. The first game tips off at 7 o'clock. Back into the Jaguars, back into rookie minicamp, and a little caveat to a little college ball. Florida, Florida State, Georgia, and Miami. Max Chadwick of PFF, Pro Football Focus. You guys know I love PFF. He's one of their main college football guys on PFF and one of their draft guys. So we'll talk about the Jaguar rookie class. We'll talk about Jaguar rookie minicamp. But we'll also talk a little orange and blue, garnet and gold, and more with Max Chadwick of PFF. That conversation is next. Hacker After Dark on a Friday evening in Jacksonville, Florida. And we're glad you're with us. It's 1010XL, and it's 92.5 FM.
First of all, real life is hard.
Second of all,
The sporting life is fun.
you're absolutely right.
1010XL, adding a little fun to real life.
What makes a Honda certified pre-owned vehicle so special? 182-point inspection, 24/7 roadside assistance, first-year free oil changes, and a 7-year, 100,000-mile warranty for carefree driving backed by American Honda. Visit your local Honda dealer today.
Hey everybody, Mike Dempsey here for Dandy Foods. Dandy subs and sandwiches. Look, we always want you to think about those great options as you're driving around Duval. But the beauty is, even as I'm dropping pounds, Dandy's got great options for me as well. Told you all about their protein packs, delicious salads that they have out there. They have fruit cups for on the go. You know what they have. Veggie snack trays. You can grab those on the go as well. Perfect, healthy snack. Dandy is the name to know when you're on the go. So stop into a Gates store anywhere around Duval and make yours a Dandy, and do it today.
Does the building you go to work in every day need a little love and attention? Jason Parker here with Performance Painting. Great companies take great care of the buildings their staff and customers walk into every day. If the building you're in doesn't match the vision you have for your company, we can help. Go to performance-painting.com. Our highly trained team makes the difference. Quality coatings applied with pride.
Performance painting.
Discover the difference that local expertise makes at First Coast Lighting and Fans. Visit their showroom at the Avenues and browse high-quality products to match your desire for elegance, quality, and uniqueness at First Coast Lighting and Fans.
Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you. Call 904-722-1111.
Instant Keys saves the day if you've lost or broken keys. They can program new keys and remotes for nearly every make and model of vehicle at a fraction of the dealership cost. Fast, honest, and reliable locksmith service. Call Instant Keys, 722-1111.
When you hear that phone ring on 1010XL,
Hello?
we're bringing you another great guest on the All-Pro Roofing phone line.
Where's the phone? Over there.
Listen for great phone interviews all day on the All-Pro Roofing phone line on 1010XL.
I'm Taylor Rose with our Remedy Staffing Westside office off of Normandy Boulevard. We are helping great people find great jobs. Remedy has helped some of the best employers in Jacksonville find talented job seekers like you for over 25 years. Our current job openings range from entry-level distribution center pickers to equipment operators. Apply today at remedygoodjobs.com. Don't wait. Apply at remedygoodjobs.com now.
Pross, I'm thinking about changing my name.
Again? You're already the media mogul, the straw that stirs the drink, the Duke of Pablo Bay. Now what?
Refer to me as Dreamfinders Danny Hicken.
What in the blazes? Is this a cash grab?
No, it's just that I believe so much in Dreamfinders Homes. 20 locations in Northeast Florida, official home builder of Jags and Gators. Great opportunity for first-time homeowners.
All right. Dreamfinders Danny it is.
Did I mention the lowest interest rates you can find? Visit dreamfindershomes.com. Now let Dreamfinders Danny celebrate through the majesty of song. Dreamfinders,
oh, brother.
I believe they will build your home just right.
If you're an experienced, skilled plumber or welder that's MedGas certified and you're tired of working for a company that just doesn't treat you right, Local 234 is the place for you. Their pay is the best in the business. You'll walk away with $35.09 an hour in your pocket. With benefits, that's just over $50 an hour. Local 234 has been around since 1901, and that means something. Visit UA234.com to send your resume. Local 234, make the right connection.
Are you 18 years or older, just got married, just got divorced, or have children? Listen up. Have you done your last will and estate planning? If you have questions, call Matt Hinson with the Hinson Law Firm. Reach him at 527-1700. Office is Jacksonville, Florida. And don't let the state decide your fate.
It's a popular gift idea, perfect for your home or work environment. Mystic Cornhole Company builds custom, high-quality boards right here in Jacks. Visit their shop on Parental Home Road or check out some designs at mysticcornholecompany.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Let's ring up another guest on the All-Pro Roofing phone line.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville, we are glad you are with us. Rookie minicamp has arrived for the Jacksonville Jaguars. They were on the field earlier today. They will be back on the field tomorrow, and OTAs begin here in Jacksonville 1 week from Monday. With that, Max Chadwick of PFF. He covers college football for PFF and hosts their college football podcast over there at Pro Football Focus, and he's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL in Jacksonville. Max, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Ryan. Thanks for having me on again.
Hey, Max, always appreciate the time. We'll talk a little college ball with you at the end, but let's get into the Jaguars and the draft class. The rookies are in town taking part in rookie minicamp. Before we dive in, player by player, Max, just a thought on how the Jaguars fared coming out of the draft, in your opinion.
I think they did a pretty okay job. I think they definitely reached on some players that I didn't love in this draft, but I thought overall they did a pretty solid job. I like Brian Thomas Jr. I like some of their other picks they had later on in the draft, but like I said, they did reach on a couple other players too. So I think overall it was a pretty okay draft, I would say, for the Jaguars.
It started with Brian Thomas. You said you like him. What do you like about the Jaguar new receiver?
Yeah, obviously he's a guy who's going to be an explosive vertical threat. He led the nation in touchdowns this past season. He led the nation, I think, on 20-plus yard throws in yards, catches, and touchdowns. So he's a deep threat, which is good because it's exactly what the Jaguars need right now because obviously they like to push the ball downfield a lot, and Trevor Lawrence loves to do that. So I think he's a guy that's going to be a great deep threat for Trevor Lawrence, and it makes a lot of sense that they wanted to target him with their first-round pick.
It's interesting how the Jaguar wide receiver core has come together. A guy like Brian Thomas, when you intermingle him with Gabe Davis and Christian Kirk, they got three guys now that kind of do different things, right? What do you think about the Jaguar wide receiver room?
Yeah, it definitely was a kind of a weakness heading into the draft, and I think they definitely addressed it, obviously, by taking a first-round receiver in Brian Thomas Jr. But, yeah, I like Christian Kirk a lot as a slot receiver, and then obviously Gabe Davis has kind of struggled a little bit in Buffalo over the last couple of years, but I still think he's a good complementary piece. And then Brian Thomas Jr. as a first-round pick, you're hoping could be that eventually that number one receiver for you. And like I said, he's probably the best deep threat the Jaguars have pretty immediately. So it's starting to come together more. It still obviously could get improved, I think. But that wide receiver core, I feel a lot better about it than I did entering the draft, for sure. Max
Chadwick of PFF. Max, I got a feeling couple of guys that you mentioned they reached on, I'm going to ask you about next. That seems to be the national narrative. Brian Thomas's teammates. We'll start with Mason Smith in round 2, Jordan Jefferson in round 4, two big defensive linemen. Your thoughts on both of those men coming to Jacksonville?
Yeah, listen, Mason Smith is clearly that Trent Baalke as a type, right? He loves the guys that maybe aren't as productive in college on the defensive line, but also they are really athletic and they're freak athletes, and that's why Trayvon Walker was the number 1 overall pick, and that's why he took Mason Smith in the second round as well. And Mason Smith kind of fits that as well, where he's a really, really good athlete. He's battled injuries throughout his career. He just hasn't really been very refined yet, and he's not very productive yet because of his time. He just hasn't really got to spend on the field yet. But like I said, he's a physically gifted football player, but his footwork needs work. His play recognition needs work. He's just a very raw defensive tackle right now. I don't love spending a top 50 pick on a guy who's that raw right now. So I would have much preferred Mason Smith on day 3 of the NFL draft rather than the second round. So that's why I think that was a little bit of a reach there, 48 overall.
It's interesting you say that. I'll defend Baalke in this regard. And look, I don't know this, but you said day 3, so maybe you're right. But the vibe I've gotten is Jacksonville didn't have a pick between 48 and 96. And whether they tried to get one or not, they didn't. There were 48 selections, obviously, in between the two. They must have thought Mason Smith was not going to be there at 96, which is why they went ahead and pulled the trigger at 48? Because I've had a lot of people tell me, Max, he was in the 60, 70, maybe 80 range, but they didn't see him falling to 96. So to me, if that's the case and if he was your guy, I guess I would give Balky the benefit of the doubt in that scenario. What's your thought there?
Yeah, I think there's a chance he would have been there at 96. I more think he was more like at a 90s pick, like maybe like a late third round is where I expected him to go, not 48 overall. So I think there's a chance that he was going to be there at 96. Again, like I said, I would take him even lower than in the 90s. Like I said, he'd probably be more of like a day 3 pick for me. But yeah, obviously he definitely liked Mason Smith. And like I said, it's clearly Trent Baalke's type, right? You know, he loves like I said, the athletic guys who just, even if they aren't that productive in college, he still loves the potential of them, and it's why he took Trayvon Walker over Aiden Hutchinson, and I would say that hasn't worked out so far for the Jaguars. And it's why he took Mason Smith over some other talented D tackles as well. So I see why Trent Baalke likes Mason Smith. Obviously, like I said, he's a freak athlete, but like I said, there's just so much refinement that's got to be done with him that's why I'm a little bit lower on Mason Smith than other people.
Max Chadwick of PFF, of course, Jordan Jefferson from LSU also in round 4. Max, they addressed corner in round 3. The last guy we'll really dive into, Jarian Jones out of Florida State, also DeAndre Prince in the 5th round out of Ole Miss. But primarily your thoughts on Jones at the nickel corner position.
Yeah, I actually like Jarian Jones a lot. It's one of the picks I really did like. That and Javon Foster in the 4th round, I really love that pick from Jacksonville as well. But Jarian Jones doesn't have great speed, but he's a guy who's a really, really good, has good quickness. I think could be a really good slot corner, really good tackler as well. I like Jarian Jones a lot. I think he could be a long-term slot corner for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I like him a lot. Like I said, I think he's a really underrated slot corner in this draft, and you know, where they got him, I thought was pretty good value at 96 as well. I probably would have taken him a little bit higher than that. So I like him a lot as a slot corner for Jacksonville. I think they did a great job selecting him.
Quickly, you mentioned Javon Foster, the 4th round pick out of Missouri, 30-plus starts in the SEC at the offensive tackle position. Obviously, a lot of experience. What are some of the things about Foster that you like?
Yeah, he was a guy that actually just graded out super well throughout his career for us at PFF. So I was always really much higher on him than the consensus was, and I'm glad the Jaguars saw the same things that we were seeing here at PFF because, like I said, he's been a really, really productive player for Missouri, you know, grading out 80-plus in multiple years in his career. So I like him a lot, and, you know, he's an 88 grade since 2022. It's the 4th best among all tackles in the country. He could move inside to guard probably long-term in the NFL. But he's not really an explosive athlete either, but he was just a really, really good left tackle in the SEC for a number of years. And I could see why Jacksonville loved his tape, honestly, because like I said, I thought he was a really underrated player in this draft.
Max, final Jaguar question. I want to end with some college football stuff with you, but of the other guys, whether it is DeAndre Prince, the kicker Cam Little, Keelan Robinson from Texas, Miles Cole from Texas Tech, anybody else or any of those picks stand out to you for the Jaguars?
Yeah, I like DeAndre Prince a little bit. You know, over the last 3 years, he's the 9th highest graded corner in the country. Really good run defender as well. I like him more as a day 3, you know, kind of potential pick there as in that Jaguars defense who could use help in the secondary. So yeah, I like DeAndre Prince a little bit. And I think that was definitely a worthwhile investment I think they made in the draft to address it.
Max Chadwick of PFF. You know, when people think about PFF, they think about pro football, right? Pro football focus. But you guys do a lot of college football work as well. You're one of the main guys at PFF. You got the college football show as well, the podcast. Let's talk about a couple of teams from our area, Max. Florida, not a lot of expectations coming into 2024, although it's interesting. The closer we're getting to September, I think people maybe are saying, all right, this 3-9, 4-8 talk might be a little far-fetched. Florida's not going to be that bad. Yeah, it's a hard schedule when you look at the logos, but Miami, are they considerably better than Florida? Texas A&M, you know, Kentucky's got a new quarterback. Tennessee's got a new quarterback. Max, what's your thought on the Gators and Billy Napier heading into the year?
I think it's a brutal schedule. I actually don't hate Florida as a team. I just think their schedule, it's really hard for me to say, okay, this is a team that can make a bowl game. And I think Billy Napier, to keep his job, probably at least has to make a bowl game, if not get 7 or 8 wins. And just looking at that schedule, it's tough for me to find 7-8 wins on that schedule. Like you mentioned, Miami's got Cam Ward there now. I'm a little bit lower on Miami than some people, but that's still probably gonna be a tough game for Florida. Texas A&M could be a tough game for them as well. They got some intriguing players and a new head coach there, Mike Elko, that I really like. You mentioned Tennessee. I think Tennessee could have a really good year as well. I love their new quarterback in Nico Iamaleava. James Pierce Jr., their edge defender, could be the number 1 overall pick next year. I think Kentucky could be improved. Georgia's either the best team in the country or the second best team in the country. Texas is probably a top 5 team in the country. LSU is probably a top 15 team in the country. Ole Miss is probably a top 10 team in the country. And Florida State is probably a top 20 team in the country. So, I mean, you just look at right there. I just rattled off like 7-8 games. It's going to be tough for Florida to win. And like I said, they probably have to win that many for Billy Napier to keep his job. So I like the future for Florida, and I like some of their current players right now. I really like Eugene Wilson, the wide receiver. DJ Lagway, the quarterback coming in, obviously he's the number 1 quarterback in the country coming out of high school. I actually don't think Graham Mertz is all that bad either. But it's really hard for me looking at that schedule to even say, they're going to make a bowl game next year, let alone win enough games for Billy Napier to maybe keep his job another year.
Yeah, to me, the Gators schedule is a 7-game schedule and then a 5-game schedule. The last 5 are brutal. I completely agree with you. The fact that they get Miami and Texas A&M in Gainesville helps. Their one conference road game, other than the usual, they go to Starkville. It could have been a lot worse than that. We'll see about Mississippi State. UCF, that'll be UCF Super Bowl. That'll be a tough game with KJ Jefferson, but again, that game's in Gainesville. I agree. If Florida wants any shot at a bowl game, at an absolute minimum, they probably got to be 5-2 in the first 7, so we'll certainly see what happens. You mentioned Florida State, Max, as we begin to wrap up. A lot of losses for the Seminoles. A lot of guys got drafted. A lot of guys entered the portal. Once again, though, Mike Norvell did a good job getting guys out of the portal. What's your thought on the Noles heading into 2024?
Yeah, I was super high in Florida State last year. I had them as a playoff team, and obviously they got gypped out of making the college football playoff last year. But I'm not as high on them going into this year. They still have some players I like. Obviously, DJ Uiagalelei is a new quarterback. I don't hate that at all. I think he's a really solid quarterback. You got some intriguing guys defensively as well. Patrick Payton is back, who could be a first-round pick. They got Marvin Jones Jr. in the portal. Fentrell Cypress is a really good corner. DJ Lundy's a great linebacker. So they have intriguing guys. I'm not nearly as high on them as I was in previous years. So, I think Florida State, again, they're a solid team. They could compete in what's a weaker ACC right now, but I'm not nearly as high on them as I was last year.
Final moments with Max Chadwick of PFF. Quickly, Max, you mentioned Miami earlier. Napier's probably on a hot seat in Gainesville. I don't know if I would call it a hot seat for Cristobal in Coral Gables, but I can tell you this, knowing some Miami people, if they lose to Florida on August the 31st, that will not be a good look for Mario Cristobal. That is a gigantic game for Miami right out of the gate.
Yeah, it's huge, and I think he probably is a little bit on the hot seat. I know Miami fans are getting a little bit fed up with him after all the stuff that's been going on with that program. Obviously, the losing the game when they should have won it against Georgia Tech is something that still leaves a sour taste in their mouths. I like Cam Ward. He's a bit of a roller coaster, though, so if he booms, he's going to be great. But if not, there's a really high boomer bust there, Cam Ward. Love Damian Martinez, the running back that got in the portal out of Oregon State. I think he's a top 10 running back in the country and could hopefully take some pressure off Cam Ward. They have a great slot receiver in Xavier Restrepo, too. I think he's a top 5 receiver in the country. But it really is all about Cam Ward and whether or not he can hit his ceiling, or will it be more of a roller coaster that we saw throughout his career. So I think Miami's got potential. But like I said, it's a boomer bust team because it really does ride on whether or not Cam Ward can ultimately hit his ceiling.
Max, final question. The Georgia Bulldogs, are they the favorites in the SEC coming into the year?
I think so pretty easily. I do. I think, them, Ohio State are the two teams I think are pretty clearly above everyone else in college football right now. And I think you can put Oregon in that respect as well. And obviously Ohio State and Oregon are not SEC teams. So, yeah, I'd say Georgia, they're the best quarterback in the country. Still a lot of talented players. I'm just stealing one of Florida's talented ones, Trevor Etienne. Got some really good players on defense as well. Malachi Starks is probably a top 2 safety in the country. Yeah, I think Georgia, obviously with the best quarterback in the country, is always going to be up there. And with how well Kirby Smart and his staff do a great job there. So, yeah, I think Georgia right now is pretty clearly the best team in the SEC, in my opinion.
Max Chadwick of PFF. Max, tell the good folks here in Jacksonville about your coverage on PFF, about the college football content, and where they can find you.
Yeah, you can find it at pff.com. And then, like you said, I host the PFF College Football Show, which you can find on YouTube and anywhere your podcast too.
Absolutely fantastic. Max, I know you're busy, brother. Thank you for the time, as always. We'll do it again as the season approaches.
Thanks, Ryan.
There you go, Max Chadwick of PFF. Always appreciate his time with us here on Hacker After Dark. And Max is not the only one I've heard that about in regards to Mason Smith. The Mason Smith thing, there doesn't seem like there's going to be a lot of gray area, right? It either seems that's going to be a ridiculously bad pick or a ridiculously good pick, and I just don't see a lot of middle ground. The national narrative, for whatever reason, is that was an overreach for the Jaguars. But again, you have to trust Trent Baalke, right? And I know some of you are like, oh, no, I can't trust Trent Baalke. Well, he's your general manager. Whether you like it or not, and I know some of you don't like that, he is your general manager. So in Trent, you have to trust. You may not like that, but you have to like it because that's the reality of the situation. And they had picks 48, and they did not pick again until 96. Mason Smith was not going to be there at 96. By all indications, he was going to be taken somewhere in the 60s or 70s. So, yeah, is pick 48 a, quote, reach? I guess if you look at it from that standpoint, sure. But if he's your guy and you know he's not going to be there when you pick next, you got to take him. And you say, Hacker, they could have traded back. Yeah, that's easier said than done. It takes two to tango. What if they tried to trade back? They didn't have any offers. They didn't have any options. You got 10 minutes. Or I guess in the second round, you got 7 minutes. You're on the clock. We want Mason. Is 48 too high? Yeah, maybe, but we're not going to get him if we don't take him here. So when people say Mason Smith is a reach, I disagree with that, quite frankly, because, again, you got to put your trust in Trent Baalke. They like Mason Smith. They didn't think he was going to be there at 96. I agree with that. So they took him at pick 48. And that really applies to like Ajarian Jones, too. If they thought Jones was going to go somewhere in the 18 picks between 96 and 114, you got to take him. And obviously they thought that. And when it comes to guys like Javon Foster of Missouri and DeAndre Prince, who we talked to earlier from Ole Miss, draft analysts will tell you that was good value. Maybe the Jaguars got them a round after people thought they were going to go. So I think it all evens out in the end. We'll see. But if Mason Smith turns into the player that I believe he could turn into, 48's going to seem like ridiculously good value in the next couple of years. More on the National Football League. Justin Barney of Channel 4 stops by at the top of the 7 o'clock hour. Coming up next, prior to rookie minicamp practice today, Doug Peterson met with us down at the Miller Electric Center. He had some interesting things to say. We'll play the comments. We'll respond to them. Next, Friday night, Hacker After Dark.
Get Florida Gators play-by-play on 1010XL.
The Gators get top 5 Kentucky in Gainesville. Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday at noon on 1010 AM.
Here's Linda Beaver.
Mayday, mayday, mayday.
Come in, Linda. Over.
We've got a sea of new vehicles and they're priced so low they're rocking the boat. Come check out our biggest selection of inventory with the best prices and our wow ya experience that will ensure smooth sailing for your next car purchase. Plus, take advantage of our peace of mind warranties, transparent pricing, and free oil changes with every purchase. You better beat the surge and head to Beaver Toyota St. Augustine or Beaver Chevrolet in Jacksonville for the best car buying experience.
Hello, First Coast. I'm sure by now you have seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We're an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We're committed to customer service, reliability, and have an unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today from GFL, Green for Life.
Hacker here. Earlier this week, I went to my primary care doctor, and I hadn't seen him in a couple of months. The last time I was there, I was considerably heavier than I was yesterday. He looked at me, and he could not believe it. He also couldn't believe my blood pressure reading. He couldn't believe my A1C with my blood work. Why are all these things so good right now? Because of Awaken 180 weight loss. That's the bottom line. Awaken 180 is changing my life. I'm down 60 pounds. since February 20th. It is life-changing. The best weight loss program I've ever been on. If it's time for you to lose weight, if you want to do it for yourself, if you want to do it for your family, trust me. Take my advice and give Awaken 180 Weight Loss a call. 844-346-1800. That's 844-346-1800, or log on to awaken180weightloss.com. If I can do it, anybody can do it. 2.5 months, you'll be thanking me. Heck, you'll be thanking me in 2.5 weeks. It's Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
Hey, I know we love our happy hours, but have you been to Mr. Chubby's Wings for lunch lately?
Yep, their new specials are awesome. I eat lunch there all the time.
I went this week and got wings, a drink, and chips for $8.
As usual, the best prices in town. You can't hardly find anyone doing $8 lunch anymore.
I know. I'm saving my money for the weekends with $8 lunch specials.
Save your money for the weekends. Enjoy $8 lunch specials Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. 3 locations serving you for all sports all year. Mr. Chubby's Wings, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. If you're searching for a new fence installation, challenge yourself to find a fence company with more positive online reviews than Superior Fence and Rail. With over 3,000 reviews and a 4.9 out of 5 review range, Superior Fence and Rail is, well, superior. So take the online challenge or let their professional team show you what superior service looks like. Superior Fence and Rail, where quality matters.
SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
All right, guys, be a true grill master with the Sausage Dudes sausage and upgrade that cookout. The Sausage Dudes are guys from Jacksonville who use their family recipes to make better sausage with the best cuts of pork, carefully sourced spices, and natural casings. And the Sausage Dudes are mission-minded, supporting the Boys and Girls Club of Northeast Florida. Try all 4 flavors because your cookout deserves better. Now available at all Publix stores in the frozen meat section. Head to Publix today and get your hands on the Sausage Dudes sausage.
Have you tried golfing at the improved Cimarron Golf Club? If you haven't, tell you what, you're missing out on the best deal in Jacksonville. Now, many of you have received a postcard in the mail, and of course, if you bring that with you, $45 plus tax to play. That includes a cart, lunch, and a beer at the brand new Stone Barrel Tap House. Now, go to the website, that is CimarronGolfClub.com, and sign up for the Wild One Loyalty Program. That's the Wild One Loyalty Program, and get all of these specials emailed to you from Cimarron.
This date in sports history is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On May 10, 2015, at the PGA Players Championship, Ricky Fowler wins, beating Kevin Kisner and Sergio Garcia by 1 stroke.
I'm here with Danny Van Sickle, director of the Electrical Training Alliance. Danny, tell me about your program.
Hey, Rick, we're a 5-year electrical apprenticeship. Our students start out making over $40,000 a year, and right now graduate making over $90,000 a year, including benefits. There is no tuition or no student debt. You just have to apply and get accepted.
Did you say no tuition and no student debt?
You heard that right, Rick. Once you're accepted to the program, your only cost are the books and the course fees. About $800 a year.
That sounds like an amazing opportunity. How can I learn more?
Just go to etajax.org, and you can apply there.
Apply by May 23rd.
Bueller Air and Plumbing presents Are You Cool?
Today's contestant, an avocado consultant from Jacksonville, Florida, meet Dave Ortega. Okay, Dave, here's your question. Your house is not bad in the morning, but by the afternoon, your AC can barely keep up, even with the curtains closed. What do you do?
Can I buy a valve?
Not that kind of show, Dave.
Can I spin the wheel?
Yeah, we don't even have a wheel, Dave.
Can I phone a friend? Can I call Bueller?
That's right, Dave. Call Bueller Air and Plumbing to assess your home's airflow and sunlight patterns, and let us optimize your air conditioning so that you are cool.
This is the happiest day of my life.
Well, you gotta get out more, Dave.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. Go ahead, feel your engine. Admire that perfectly installed exhaust. Your vehicle's moving along this freeway like it was made from fresh installs and a whole lot of love. With eBay Motors, you get over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Yes, it is. In for Blue, 1010XL, 92.5 FM. The thoughts of Jaguar head coach Doug Peterson in just a moment. JJ, are you a good cook? Are you good in the kitchen?
I would say decent.
Because when we do those contests here, is that you that makes that or your wife?
Oh, me.
That's you. So you are a good cook. I've had some of that. You're very good. You're shortchanging yourself. So I've had to start cooking a lot more, vegetables and whatnot because of Awaken 180, which is awesome. I've lost 60 pounds. I've developed a knack for cooking stuff. Man, I made a mistake today. I was cooking broccoli and a couple pieces of broccoli and one very hot pan just rubbed across my thumb the wrong way. I'm still working my way through the kitchen. Brother, I will tell you one thing. That was about 10 hours ago, and yikes. My thumb is in bad shape right now. I've never had an injury due to cooking. My idea of cooking back in the day was microwaving fast food, which is probably why I got in the situation I was in. But now that I'm eating so much healthier and losing all this weight, I've developed a need to cook more, which is fine. I love it. And I've been fine for the last 2.5 months, but good grief, man. I will be much more careful. And I didn't know what to do. My thumb is like scathing hot. I just stuck it under the cold water and begged for mercy for a while. Finally had the common sense to get an ice pack. And that really didn't seem to do that much. So if anybody has a remedy for a thumb that has a very bad blister on it from a burning incident in the kitchen earlier this morning, I'm all ears. Shoot me a text on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures at 641-1010. Update to Florida baseball. The Gators probably need to win 2 out of 3 against Kentucky and then probably need to win the series next week to feel comfortable about their chances in the NCAA tournament. It has not certainly been the year that Gator fans would have hoped for, although I heard Frangie talk about they're still 23rd in the RPI regardless of their win-loss record right now. They were up 8-6 in the top of the 9th, 2 outs, nobody on. They walked the guy, and then Kentucky just hit a 3-run bomb to go up 9-8 in the top of the 9th. That is brutal, man. Again, I'm never going to be confused for a giant college baseball fan, but I'm smart enough to know that you're up 8-6, you got 2 outs, nobody on, you're 1 out from victory in what people think is a must-win game, and you walk back-to-back guys, and the third guy hits a 3-run homer, and you lose the lead on that. Good grief. We'll keep you updated, but that is a Gordon Soley shot to the solar plexus right there for the Gator baseball team. We'll see if they can respond in the bottom of the 9th. All right, Justin Barney, Channel 4, coming up in less than 20 minutes. Doug Peterson, earlier today, Miller Electric Center, had a lot to say. There are 4 things I want to focus on. Number 1, and we talked about this at the start of the show, I am of the opinion the Jaguars need to sign Jarvis Landry. Will he ultimately make the 53-man roster? I don't know. I would tend to doubt it. But I'm willing to give up one of the 90 roster spots heading into camp so that he can be around Brian Thomas for the next 3.5 months. 2 receivers, 2 LSU guys. Again, where Brian Thomas was today, Jarvis Landry was, and vice versa. I want that to continue through OTAs, through minicamp, through training camp, and through the preseason, and we'll see if Jarvis can show enough to make the 53-man roster. Doug Peterson was asked about the opportunity for Brian Thomas to learn from a seasoned veteran like Jarvis Landry.
It is a really good learning experience for a guy like Brian, to come in here and see Jarvis, see how he handles these 2 days. Listen, this is geared more for rookies these 2 days. I mean, Jarvis is a vet, and he kind of knows what it's like. So I think it'll be good to kind of see how Jarvis handles himself, as a professional. And it'll at least make an impression on Brian, this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. That didn't sound good for Landry's long-term future. At least it'll make an impression on him this weekend. And I think some of the question, too, does Jarvis Landry still want to do this? I mean, he's here, right? So he obviously is interested in doing it. But after a couple of practices, will 31-year-old Jarvis Landry, who has not played a down in the NFL since midway through the 2022 season, he did not play at all last year, does he want to do it? And that question was asked to Jarvis Landry today, and he said he's still feeling his way out, seeing if he can still do it, if he still has the passion for it. He certainly looked like he belonged today. Now, again, he's a 5-time Pro Bowler, and he was out there with mainly rookies in a rookie minicamp. It'll probably look drastically different when Christian Kirk and Gabe Davis and Devin Duvernay and all those guys are out there alongside him. But again, I'm all for the Jaguars bringing in Jarvis Landry for the rest of the offseason. Brian Thomas did not come from LSU alone. Mason Smith, we talked about him earlier, round number 2, 48th pick overall. Doug Peterson today was asked what he wants to see out of his second-round selection.
It's going to be a lot of individual, a lot of drill work, fundamentals, teaching, just the retention, just see what he can retain, just see his athleticism, see him move around. Again, there's no pass rush, no offense, defensive stuff, and it's just a matter of, I think taking what he's being taught in the classroom, obviously take it to the field, and then, no more than just watching him run around.
JJ, we'll get to play calling in a moment, but I want to go down to where the physicality came up in Doug Peterson's press conference earlier today. Now, if you'll remember, and we've talked about this a lot since, I think, the end of January, Trent Baalke held a press conference to talk about their offseason vision, right, their offseason plan. And at the time, a lot of people were talking about the future of Calvin Ridley, right? A lot of people were talking about the future of Josh Allen. But in that press conference in late January, Trent Baalke said, look, we need to get tougher on the line of scrimmage. We need to get more physical on the line of scrimmage. That is what the general manager said. We got to get more physical, bring more physicality. He said that in the media workroom of the Miller Electric Center. Ironically, in the same exact spot today, Doug Peterson in the Miller Electric Center was asked if the team accomplished that by getting more physical this offseason.
The physicality part of it, I kind of chuckle when people say be more physical. I mean, we play football. It's a physical sport, right? I mean, it's how we teach our players to maybe you can help them be more physical, just like you can help a quarterback be more accurate, right, with his throws. So it's a matter of just doing it.
Well, that's interesting, right? General manager says we need to get more physical. The head coach says I chuckle when people say we need to get more physical. Which one is it? That could be rehashed later. That's certainly interesting. We on the same page, which I believe Baalke and Peterson are, but there certainly appears to be a disagreement there, at least in the verbiage that was used. I'm not conjuring anything up. I mean, go back to listen to what Baalke said in late January compared to what Peterson said today. And it's not easy, not hard to find. As far as being more physical, whatever you want to call it, tougher, bigger, I think they did accomplish that. I mean, look at the interior defensive line. Eric Armstead, Jordan Jefferson, obviously Mason Smith. You're talking 3 guys, 290 plus. You throw in Trevis Gibson and Miles Cole, they're 280. That's 5 defensive linemen, 4 of which are absolutely going to make this team. Miles Cole, the 7th rounder, we'll see. At worst, he'll be on the practice squad. That's 5 guys, all 6'4" or taller, all 280 plus. I mean, yeah, they brought in some big dudes. And you even look on the offensive line with Mitch Morse, re-signing Ezra Cleveland, drafting Javon Foster. You brought in 8 guys on the lines of scrimmage, offense and defense. Obviously, that was a priority. Regardless if you want to refer to it as getting more physical or not, the Jaguars thought there was a need to beef up the O-line and beef up the interior defensive line, and they certainly accomplished that this offseason. Final thought, at least for right now, from head coach Doug Peterson, and this will be a topic all the way through to the beginning of the year. I have no doubt OTAs, veteran minicamp, training camp, and into the preseason, Doug Peterson will be asked about this. My guess is he might start getting agitated about this. But our buddy D-Rock, Mike DiRocco, you'll hear the question, was asked Doug Peterson today about, will you take over play calling this year, Coach?
Brent, Martin will ask you a couple times about the play calling process and your evaluation of it and going forward. Where are you in that at this point? Is that something you're not going to deal with for a while?
I don't play a game till September, so, got some time.
We don't play a game until September, so we have some time. This is May the 10th. That question will probably be asked again at some point in OTAs later in the month. It'll probably be asked at veteran minicamp next month. It'll probably be asked when training camp begins in July. And I have no doubt it'll be asked when the preseason rolls around. When will that answer change? When will we know? Is it Press Taylor? Is it Doug Peterson? It's going to be a topic as long as they don't answer, as long as they don't give a definite, I'm the guy calling plays or Press is the guy calling plays. As long as that hanging fruit is out there, it will be a topic here in the city of Jacksonville. There is absolutely no question about that. A lot more on the Jaguars coming up. John Vogel, NFL draft analyst, talking Jaguar rookie minicamp. He comes up towards the bottom of the 7 o'clock hour. Coming up next, Justin Barney of Channel 4. I did get a lot of responses on the text line. Appreciate this. I would have never thought of this. So apparently when I burned the ever-living tar out of my thumb earlier today and making broccoli, apparently putting water on it is what made it blister. Well, that's good to know. I guess I'm the root of cause for that. Put butter on it. That takes the sting out. Aloe. Yeah, obviously know about that. Mustard apparently takes the sting out of a burn like that. Butter or mustard? Now, I don't know if people are messing with me. I think I've heard the butter thing before. I've never heard the mustard thing before on a bruise. I got people telling me to go get ointment at drug stores. Hey, I appreciate it. All the feedback I can take is great because there is a pretty significant blister on my knuckle of my thumb right now, and it was all self-induced. I did it to myself. I can't blame anybody. I tried to take the easy way out and dumping broccoli onto a plate, and it backfired. I won't ever do it again because that hurt like, what can I say on this station? It hurt really bad. How about that earlier today? But I appreciate all the advice. I will next time try the butter approach. Thank you guys for that. I don't know if Justin Barney's ever burned his thumb. Perhaps he has. Perhaps he's used butter to fix it. Maybe I'll ask him. But we'll talk Jaguar rookie minicamp and more. My buddy Justin Barney of Channel 4 is next. Halftime on Hacker After Dark. 1 hour down, 1 hour to go. We will take you up till 8 o'clock tonight. Jacksonville, we're glad you're with us. It's 1010XL, and it's 92.5 FM.
She's homegrown.
Your father's listening to the radio.
She's Jacksonville's sweetheart.
Well, it's a little cheesy, but...
And she's one of the boys.
Just, behave, okay?
She's Lauren Brooks, noon to 2 on 1010XL. Now you can watch 1010XL shows all day on X, Facebook, and YouTube. Brought to you by MyBookie. Experience Vegas from the comfort of your phone anytime, anywhere. Sign up today. Use promo code 1010XL.
Nimnick Buick GMC is proud to be the #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville. Frank Frangie here. They're committed to providing the best selection of Buicks and GMCs for you to choose from with a best price guarantee. Nimnick has been in business for over 81 years because they've been doing business the right way. Stop by Nimnick Buick GMC on Phillips Highway, just south of I-295, or shop online at nimnickbuickgmc.com. That's Nimnick, your friends in the car business since 1941. GMC, we are professional grade.
Jimerson Burr is a full-service, Florida-based commercial law firm that has experience and capabilities to handle any legal issue a business is confronted with. Learn more about what they can do for you at jimersonfirm.com.
Mother's Day is right around the corner this year. Give your mother a gift that keeps on giving. How about a zero-resified kitchen? Hey, Hicken here. There's nothing my wife loves more than having Zero Res do a deep clean on the kitchen. Towel and grout. She also loves the look and feel of the granite countertops after Zero Res cleans and seals them. They really pop. Right now, Zero Res offering $50 off towel and grout cleaning and $50 off granite countertops cleaned and sealed. Zero Res, man, you spell it forward. Zero Res, you spell it back. It's the right way to clean.
Home of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Your cooling system isn't working. Maybe somebody showed up with a portable electronic device. Then they discussed with you what your options are. Maybe they gave you an estimate that seems like an awful lot of money. What's the smart thing to do? When the situation merits a second opinion, get a Mike Merritt opinion. Yes, the Mike Merritt Comfort Team shows up with hand tools. We've never been able to fix an air conditioning problem with a tablet. Mike Merritt has been the trusted name for more than 30 years because there's never any hocus pocus. The Merritt team will walk you through the diagnostic steps up close and personal and show you exactly what you need. And the Mike Merritt price is likely to be far less because there's never an overtime charge, and the Merritt team doesn't work on commission. So remember, when it comes to the health of your cooling system, a second opinion can only help, and a Mike Merritt opinion can save you money. Florida license CACO 50384.
Mortgage rates have lowered going into this spring selling season. Have you had problems selling your home in the past? Are you looking for a promise, a solution? I'm here to give it for you. It's Chad and Sandy and ChadandSandy.com, the real estate experts I trust and recommend with the sale of your home, or mine for that matter. Maybe you want maximum equity, or perhaps you're worried about costly repairs or upgrades. Chad and Sandy deliver this simple promise. They guarantee your home sold at an agreed-upon price and deadline, or they will buy it. You have literally nothing to lose. Take Pete in Lakeshore. I was in a pickle. I heard Chad and Sandy on the radio and called because I needed to cash out on a rental property fast. I was struggling to rent it. I called Chad and Sandy, and I got an offer for full asking price within days. These guys made it easy and delivered big-time results. Call the agents I trust and recommend to sell your home. Chad and Sandy, they guarantee to sell your home or they will buy it. Find out more at ChadandSandy.com or call 414-6200.
Hey, sports fans, this is Hayes Carlyon from MyBookie. The NBA playoffs are heating up, and it's the perfect time to elevate your game with MyBookie. With MyBookie, you can bet from anywhere, anytime, so you never miss a shot to cash in on a play. You can even live stream and bet on the games right from the sportsbook, giving you everything you'll need to decide, cash out or let it ride. MyBookie really makes it easy to get paid with tons of boosted props and slam dunk parlays, and new boosts are now posted on the daily. It's more than just a sports book. Buzzer beaters, underdog upsets, and a community to share in all of the sweats. Give yourself a head start today and play with house money using promo code 1010XL when you make your first deposit. That's promo code 1010XL to claim a limited time bonus when you sign up and make your first deposit. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere, only with MyBookie. And don't forget that promo code 1010XL.
Test your aim to help local kids succeed. It's the 6th annual Mackenzie Noel Wilson Foundation Clay Shoot to support the Boys and Girls Clubs of Northeast Florida and Mackenzie's Camp Deep Pond, Thursday, May 30th at Jack's Clay Target Sports. Get your team and the Boys and Girls Club take care of the rest. Ammo, cart, clays, breakfast bites, lunch, and goodies. Proceeds benefit 56 area clubs serving over 5,200 area kids every day. Go to bgcnf.org/events.
Find your why in your next career move at the First Coast YMCA. Everyone can get involved and make a difference in your community at the Y. And if you'd like to turn your passion into a fulfilling career, the Y is an equal opportunity employer and is now hiring youth program leaders, lifeguards, swim instructors, and more. Plus, Y staff enjoy benefits including free YMCA membership and free childcare while you work. Find your passion, find your why in a career at fcymca.org.
I-9 Sports wants to make sure kids all over the First Coast can enjoy growing up on a field or in a gym. And right now, summer and fall registration is open. So make sure you find out what I-9 Sports offers in your area across Duval, Clay, and St. John's. i9sports.com. Enter 1010 in the promo code.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Let's ring up another guest on the All-Pro Roofing phone line.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We are glad you are with us. The month of May has arrived. Rookie minicamp for the Jacksonville Jaguars is at the end of the week, and high school spring football is currently going on all over Northeast Florida. With all that, Justin Barney of Channel 4, always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL in Jacksonville. Justin, how we doing, man?
Not too bad. Thanks for having me. An exciting time as baseball, softball, lacrosse winding down, and we've got spring football going on, and obviously the Jaguars rookie mini camp. So a lot of moving parts.
Justin, we'll get to the high school stuff in a moment, but I haven't talked to you since the draft. First and foremost, your thoughts on the Jaguars draft class and what you think they accomplished.
I thought it was a good decision to trade down and still get Brian Thomas Jr. in the first round. Outside of that, I thought they took some risks. I'm not sure I would have gone Mason Smith in the second round. I did think there were some reaches later on, but I do think the first round of the draft filling such a big need with a huge playmaker and pocketing some extra picks that basically translated into a low second round pick on the draft value chart was an excellent move by Trent Baalke. I think you gotta hit on some of these draft picks. I'm not that high on last year's draft. I think that's outside of Anton Harrison. I really think last year's draft was pretty underwhelming. So I'm hoping that you get a little bit more value and a little more of competition and a little bit more production out of this year's draft class. But I like Javon Foster. I think he's a good swing tackle option there. I do like the Jordan Jefferson pick. I know people weren't high on that one, but I did think they got some good value. Not a big fan of the seventh rounder or the Keelan Robinson pick. So a lot to be determined, but we'll get his first chance to see that this weekend.
Justin Barney of Channel 4. Justin, from the looks of the roster, at least to me, corner, potentially edge rusher. There are some veterans available on the free agent market still. We did this last year where the Jaguars had an opportunity to sign some veteran guys after the draft. They chose not to do that. That turned out to be a mistake. Do you think corner, edge rusher, or potentially both, do you think they need to address that with a veteran free agent?
Yeah, I think corner is a good option. I mean, you've got Tyson Campbell coming back. He's got a lot to prove this year after a wasted season, really a lot due to injury. You did get a corner in Jarian Jones in the draft, who I like. I thought they got him. I had him going in the fourth round to the Jaguars, so they got him around early. I like that pick. But, yeah, I think you need – and the defense that Ryan Nielsen's going to run, that press man type of defense, the emphasis is on that nickel. Got to have some variation in there, and I would not mind kicking the tires on a veteran corner to add to that rotation and just kind of let the chips fall where they may. I don't know if there's any DBs currently on that roster who fit that mold. I think you add some influx of a veteran at corner. I think I'd like to see that a little bit more than edge right now.
Rookie minicamp coming up at the end of the week. I know you guys from Channel 4 will be out there. What are you looking for? Big storylines for you during this 3 days. We all get to be out there on Fridays, so I'm looking forward to that. But big storylines you're looking forward to during this minicamp.
I want to see David White Jr. He was the undrafted free agent from Westside High School, Western Carolina. He played there last year, and he's got some good size. I want to see him. Always good to see the local guys. Obviously, Brian Thomas Jr., I think he's the big storyline. You want to see how he looks on that field. And, I'm really interested to see Jarvis Landry. I know he's not a quote-unquote rookie, but I'm interested to see what he's got out of after being out of the league for a year, kind of rehabbing some injuries. He's 31, but he's been a Pro Bowler 5 times, and if he can somehow garner a little bit of that hope, then you're talking the 3 receivers in Gabe Davis, Christian Kirk, Brian Thomas Jr., and potentially Jarvis Landry. I like that quite a bit than the receiving core they had last year. And at worst, you got a Jarvis Landry guy you can kick the tires on, and he's only a year older than Calvin Ridley with a lot more production in his NFL career. So to get a guy like that coming back, I think that is an unbelievably good storyline, and be good to see if he's got anything left or how he's recovered from that ankle injury that kept him out last year.
Justin, final Jaguar question before we branch out a little bit. Look, a lot still to be determined. We're 2.5 months away still from training camp even, but the way it stands right now in the early portion of May going into rookie minicamp, are they better now than when they left the field in Nashville on January 7th?
You really hope so. I mean, I think I think somebody asked a similar question to Trent Baalke before the draft, and you hope so that you're better than last year. I think the biggest issues last year were offensive line and the play calling and the situation there. But I do think a lot of the offensive line issues led to the Trevor Down year, led to the play calling issues, and I do think they got better at that position as a whole. And I think you just get some of those guys healthy and back. I think Ezra Cleveland, he's finally healthy. Mitch Morse at center, that's a huge addition right there. And you just think the natural progression of Anton Harrison and Cam Robinson, he is what he is. You hope Brandon Sheriff's healthy again, and I think they're better at that position, if only incrementally. I think health-wise is huge, and I do think they're better at receiver last year. I mean, Calvin Ridley, he was solid last year. But I think the injuries to Zay, the injury to Christian, I like this receiving core potentially better than they've had in quite some time. You've got a long, lean, fast rookie receiver, and I think Christian Kirk healthy. We saw what the pass rush did. You added Eric Armstead. You added some depth behind him. You hope Devon Hamilton's healthy after his kind of a wasted year last year. So I do think they are better on paper, at least. Obviously, you won't know how that plays out until you get on the field and see those live bullets flying. But on paper, I do think, even with those subtractions, like a Calvin Ridley, like a DeJuan Smoot going elsewhere, I think this team on paper is better than the one that walked off the field in Tennessee last year, 9-8 and missing the playoffs.
Couple of more for Justin Barney of Channel 4. Justin, as we switch gears to high school, let's kind of do a bridge here. I saw some betting odds for the 2025 draft, and Carson Beck is at the top of that list as a guy who potentially could go number 1 in the draft. Look, a lot still to be determined. We'll see how Carson performs in Athens this year. But man alive, I mean, if he were to be the number 1 pick or even a top 5 pick, top 10 pick, you got to wonder where you would start ranking Carson Beck among the better high school players that's ever played here in Northeast Florida.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a state championship. He's got a Mr. Football award. He's going to be a high draft pick, whether that's number 1, 2, or 10. Carson trending in that direction. I mean, he trains with some fantastic guys, Denny Thompson and Will Hewlett and those guys. And you're just seeing that arrow continuing to tick up. And I think if a good season for Carson is going to put him in that conversation. And, you look at the Tebows, Mr. Football, state champion, DeAndre Johnson, First Coast guy, Mr. Football. Some good guys have played here, and I think Carson certainly in that conversation now. But if you add potentially a national championship and a top draft pick to that too, yeah, he is certainly moving up in that conversation by the year. Great to see Carson have that success, and the guys he was throwing to in high school weren't bad. Demario Douglas, a draft pick of the Patriots last year, and had an excellent rookie season too.
And it goes to show you what patience can do. A lot of people wouldn't have been patient in Athens. Carson Beck was. He waited his time, and it looks like he's going to be getting the rewards of that patience. All right, Justin, as we take a look at high school spring ball, let's briefly go county by county. Let's start in Duval. Storylines that you're following, spring football, Duval County right now.
I think it starts and ends with Mandarin. I mean, how are they going to look this year? And the talent over there is just ridiculous. And you're coming off the state championship game runner-up spot, Toby Bullock back and trying to win it. And this is the last season for a lot of those seniors over there. Drake Stubbs, Tramel Jones, obviously he's going to the Elite 11 this summer. Jamie French, he is the bluest of the blue chips as it gets. So I think state championship game again, you circle that on the calendar for Mandarin, and you just got to win those games week after week after week. And I think Mandarin is going to be an unbelievable storyline. Of course, you have Bowles, you've got Trinity, you've got University Christian, you've got a Providence. I think there's some really good storylines all across the area in Duval County. Riverside, Rains could be the other public school team in Duval County that's set up nice for a state championship. Donovan Maslin, a great team over there. But I think in Duval County, if you're asking me, I think it starts Mandarin 1, Rains 2 right now as we're making the turn out of spring.
You talk about Mandarin state championship. Bobby Ramsey was the head coach of that Mandarin football team. He's now back in Duval County at Jackson there in the public school system. What are your thoughts on Bobby Ramsey coming back into Duval County to coach Jackson?
Yeah, good for Bobby to it's a different spot, I mean, he had Yulee. You look at Yulee when he got to Yulee. I mean, this is a school that was very new. Of course, you had Derrick Henry there, but Jackson's a program that's kind of taken a step back since Christopher Foy left. Disappointing season last year. But again, I mean, Bobby has been at these schools, and he's built them too. I mean, Impact Christian was just getting off the ground. He did well there. So I think Bobby's a good guy for that job, and I just think if you can bump those numbers up and start stacking some wins, you'll see some good things over there. But it's definitely it's a rebuild over there on Main Street.
Final moments here with Justin Barney of Channel 4. Justin, you mentioned Christopher Foy. He's now at Oakleaf, second year in that system for he and his staff. Chad Parker, Fleming Island. I mean, as we go out to Clay County, what's the big storylines this spring?
Yeah, I think for Clay County as a whole, can Fleming Island get back on the horse? I was out at Fleming last week, and I had a chance to talk to Chad and see the team, and I think they're going to be better this year. Sebastian Broughton at quarterback, entering his final year, he's going to be much better. And Fleming Island lost a lot of close games last year. They led Buchholz late in that game. They led Bartram Trail. They had a tight game against Bartram at halftime. So I mean, you're in these games. I think you lose probably 5 one-score games last year. If you're Fleming Island, you got to be able to close. I think that's a great storyline out there in Clay County. And if you hop over into St. John's, which is right next door, I think a great storyline there is St. Augustine. Can they make that leap? Can they close the door? I was out at St. Augustine yesterday and had a chance to talk to Brian and offensive coordinator Brandon James, and see Lachlan Hewlett, the quarterback there, and Carl Jenkins Jr., the receiver, and Samorian Wingo. Those guys are loaded, and I said it on social media yesterday. I think this is probably the most talented team in St. Augustine since that 05 team that played for a state championship and went 15-0 and won it. This team is loaded down there in St. Augustine. I think that's the best storyline down there in St. Augustine. Of course, you got Creekside as well, Bartram Trail as well. Corey Johns is going to get that program back into the playoffs. Creekside, Ponte Vedra, a lot of good teams, a lot of good storylines in St. Johns County as well.
As we make the turn for home, the FHSAA has tinkered again with the playoff format. To me, enough is enough. They keep messing with it, and I really hate the fact that we have 2- and 3-team districts again. As we get into spring ball and people start paying attention to this sort of stuff, what has the response been to what the FHSAA did this offseason?
I think it's just you messed with a system that I thought was actually not bad. I know the Miami-Dades and the big public school metro districts weren't a fan of suburban and metro, but you're back to really with what you started with in terms of everybody together. You had great state championship games, and I know it wasn't, suburban metro wasn't well received by a lot of people, but I think it did what it needed to do. And you're keeping changing playoffs every 2, 3, 4 years. I don't know what the right solution is for it, but I just think you got to settle on something and quit tinkering with things every 2 and 3 years, and let people have a little bit of stability. I hate seeing 2-team, 3-team districts. It's just not good for the sport, and that's how you get those bad district champions in, and teams that don't have any rights, really don't have any. It shouldn't be in the playoffs regardless. So I get those districts away and find a playoff system that works and stick to it.
Justin, final question. Mandarin, St. Augustine appear to be the 2 best right now. You mentioned Rains as well. Bradford County, anybody outside of who we've mentioned that you think could compete for maybe the best team in the area?
Yeah, Bradford will be right there. I mean, they lost a ton of people. But Jamie Rogers, an excellent coach. Baker County and Kevin Mays, always a threat to do something good. Probably not going to see those teams play for state championships. Bradford's, played for a state championship last year and lost to Cocoa. I don't think you'll see a state championship right there because, again, you're going away from those suburban situations, which the Baker Counties and the Bradfords and St. Augustines were in, and back into everybody swimming in the same pool. So I think that success we saw last year probably not going to happen as much as we saw last year with that suburban setup.
Justin Barney of Channel 4. Justin, appreciate the time, man. Thank you as always, and I'll see you out at Jaguar Rookie Minicamp on Friday.
Take care, Hack. Thanks for having me.
And now, the starting lineup.
The Drill Mornings. Jaguars today, 10 to noon. Helmets and heels. Noon to 2. XL Primetime. 2 to 4. The Frangie Show. 4 to 6. Into the Night with Rick Ballou and Hacker After Dark. Evenings on 1010 XL.
Ballou for Shinatri Chiropractic. They've helped me get rid of my headaches and pain in my neck and back. Are you suffering from an auto accident? What about TMJ pain? Headaches associated with jaw clenching, grinding of the teeth, or stress-related disorders? Shinatri Chiropractic has a physical therapist on staff for rehabilitation, quality chiropractic care, dry needling, massage, and acupuncture. Call 743-6700 or go to ShinatriDC.com.
Are you embarrassed by your ugly, cracked concrete driveway? Need to enhance your home's curb appeal? Stonecore on Phillips Highway is your one-stop shop for all your outdoor needs. Replacing with new stone pavers will transform your driveway into a stunning work of art. Say goodbye to unsightly concrete and hello to beautiful, durable pavers that last for years. Visit Stonecore today and let's beautify your home together. Stonecore.co. We do outdoors better.
In sports, we love to see just who the top dog is. Even better news now, Underdog Fantasy is back. Perhaps it's you. They're back with Champions. Champions is a player versus player fantasy game where you have the opportunity to win up to 100 times in one night by beating out the pack. And you do it real simple. Real simple. Higher or lower. It's all you got to do. There's a statistical projection. You either go higher or you go lower. You add up your picks and you count your cash. It can be as simple as coin flip, higher or lower, or you can use all the resources they have on a terrific app. I got on the app this week, played around with it, learned it inside and out. Yeah, so my contests haven't gone so great yet. But hey, that's why there's more season. So, discover what Underdog Champions is all about and go right now to your app store and download the Underdog Fantasy app today. Use promo code PROSSER and you'll get your player special plus a deposit offer. That's Underdog Fantasy, promo code PROSSER.
Ever wonder how you can transform your living spaces into captivating works of art? At First Coast Lighting and Fans, they offer a huge selection of high-quality products to match your desire for elegance, quality, and uniqueness. Visit their showroom on Phillips Highway at the Avenues and step into a world of quality without compromise. Discover the difference that locally owned expertise makes and let them help you experience the transformation from average to extraordinary. At First Coast Lighting and Fans.
Mother's Day seems to sneak up on us. 1010XL helps you say thanks with gift ideas from
Beaches Dermatology, Sawgrass Marriott Spa, and Kuhn Flowers.
Go to 1010XL.com at your convenience.
Certainly facing challenging economic times. I can't speak for all of us. But for me, comforting to know my money is in good hands with ITP Partners. Ticket here for ITP Partners. Jacksonville guys taking care of my Jacksonville money. I'll admit it, I don't understand a ton about the economy. Higher interest rates, 401ks. But I do know as I move closer to retirement, I continue to watch my money grow. Thanks to Chris Bryan, Jeff Hartman, Reagan Wright, Dan Abel, and Reed Wingate. Get in the game, guys. ITP Partners. Always there to help. For more info, Chris at ITPPartners.com or call 904-312-9751.
She's always been there for you with hugs, smiles, and an encouraging word.
This year, show Mom how much she means to you with a gift from Beards Diamonds.
Save thousands on hundreds of ideas for Mother's Day, including Rolex watches.
In the St. John's Town Center or at BeardsDiamonds.com.
All right, sports fans, Hicken here, and let's talk skin. Beaches Dermatology reminding you all to wear your sunscreen. Summer's almost here, gang, and that means more time outside. You're grabbing the clubs for your tea time. You're heading out to the boat. Just headed to the beach. Definitely bring the sunscreen. Hey, Mother's Day is coming up, so get your lady a gift card for some skin care. We know women love their skin. Beaches Dermatology, give them a call. I've been seeing them for years, and my skin thanks me for it. Call today online at beachesdermatology.com.
Hey, I'm Tony from Tony D's Pizza. People ask me all day long, is it the water that makes the difference? Well, yes and no. Even water can't make a good pizza. It's the ingredients, too. The best tomatoes, the best flour, and the best cheese. Oh, and a lot of love. Tony D's New York Pizza, Bay Meadows and 295.
Bueller Air and Plumbing presents Are You Cool?
Today's contestant, an avocado consultant from Jacksonville, Florida, meet Dave Ortega. Okay, Dave, here's your question. Your house is not bad in the morning, but by the afternoon, your AC can barely keep up, even with the curtains closed. What do you do?
Can I buy a valve?
Not that kind of show, Dave.
Can I spin the wheel?
Yeah, we don't even have a wheel, Dave.
Can I phone a friend? Can I call Bueller?
That's right, Dave. Call Bueller Air and Plumbing to assess your home's airflow and sunlight patterns and let us optimize your air conditioning so that you are cool.
This is the happiest day of my life.
Well, you gotta get out more, Dave.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
1010XL is presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. It's Hacker After Dark on 1010XL.
Yes, it is. In for Blue, 1010XL, 92.5 FM, NFL draft analyst, my buddy John Vogel. He of the NFL Draft podcast that he has on the Sick Pod Network. You follow him on Twitter, on social media. His Twitter handle is @DraftVogel. It's what the guy does. He's done it for years. We'll talk Jaguar rookie minicamp. We'll look around the AFC South as well. He comes up within the next under 10 minutes or so. Boy, heartbreak in Gainesville right now. Good grief. What a game. Florida was up 8-6. Kentucky had 2 outs, top of the 9th, nobody on. Florida's 1 out away from victory in a game that was thought to be a must-win. They walk 2 guys. Kentucky hits a 3-run bomb. They go up 9-8. Florida tied it in the bottom of the 9th at 9. They go to extras. Kentucky scores 3 in the top of the 10th to go up 12-9. Florida, a solo home run, Caglione, the guy's a monster. Another solo home run. It's 12-11. They get a runner on first with 1 out, and apparently moments ago hit into a game-ending double play. Oh, what a game, but what a way to lose. As Kentucky wins at 12-11, and Florida's hopes to get into the NCAA tournament are dwindling. Their RPI is still very high, but they're not going to have a winning record at this rate. I think they're only 1 game above 500 right now. Man, that is tough. So Kentucky wins it by 1. Game 1 of the series. They play 2 more, I believe, and we'll see what happens. But Florida's got a lot of work to do. A lot of work in order to get now into the NCAA tournament. Couple of NFL news and notes here. Zay Jones, I'm sure you guys saw this earlier. An Arizona Cardinal. Good for Zay. Was not out of work long. A 1-year deal worth over $4 million. And he stays out of the AFC. He had visited Tennessee. He had visited Kansas City. I went on Kansas City radio yesterday. They thought they were going to sign him. Ultimately, he goes to Arizona, so I'm happy for Zay because I think he's going to help them. And I'm happy he did not go to Kansas City. So Zay Jones, now a former Jaguar and a current member of the Arizona Cardinals. And the biggest non-breaking news story that we'll probably have in the NFL offseason, the Chicago Bears, Matt Eberflus today, announced Caleb Williams will be the starting quarterback. No kidding. That's what happens when you trade Justin Fields and you draft Caleb Williams number 1. First day of rookie minicamp, it's Caleb Williams' job in the Windy City. Speaking of the NFL, speaking of the draft, let's talk Jags, let's talk AFC South and more with my buddy John Vogel. He already has a 2025 draft guide out, if you can believe that. He'll tell you about that, but we'll certainly review what the Jaguars did here in 2024. John Vogel, NFL draft analyst, next. Friday night, Hacker After Dark, 1010XL, 92.5 FM.
This is 1010XL.
Hell, you could say that 10,000 times and it still wouldn't be enough.
It fires me up, man.
I love it. Say it one more time.
This is 1010XL.
Hey folks, Rick Ballou here for John's Auto. They've been a staple in Jacksonville going all the way back to 1985. At John's Auto, they service all makes, all models, cars, trucks, diesel, you name it, they do it. Whether it's routine maintenance or a complete engine overhaul. Call John's Auto on Arlington Road. That's 904-743-3857 or go to johnsautomotivejacks.com.
Lauren Brooks here from Mayport CNC Fisheries. At my house, we had a feast from Mayport CNC Fisheries with the freshest shrimp around, and it was unbelievable. They also have oysters, scallops, mahi, and so much more. Want to eat like a local? Head to the beach and visit my friends at Mayport CNC Fisheries.
PRP treatment is kind of the thing these days, and in many cases, it eliminates the need for surgery. This is Sheridan Tootin, and my experience with PRP from Southeast Orthopedic Specialist has been nothing short of great. I'm really feeling much better now. Ask your Southeast Orthopedic Specialist doctor about PRP treatment.
This is Dr. Kevin Murphy with Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, where athletes are treated like pros.
Relieve pain and get back to life. SOS. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Sports fans, JJ LaSalva here. When I need to send my bride flowers or a plant for birthdays or anniversaries, I always go with Kuhn Flowers. After all, they've been the leading florist in these parts for over 75 years. You can always rely on Kuhn Flowers.
You can't go inside your home team's locker room, so Jags beat reporter Hayes Carline goes there for you.
Work on three, 1, 2, 3,
Hayes Carline here. Find my blog at 1010xl.com.
Brought to you by Roland Reach Plumbing, where quality and experience count.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin. Hey, good morning. You're heading to the airport, right?
Yep, thanks for checking. I like the car. How long have you been a rideshare driver?
About 3 years now. I really enjoy it.
Isn't it hard to make money these days with the price of gas being so high?
Not for me. I use Upside, the free app that gives you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get real money back when you get gas with the Upside app?
Yep, I get real cash back every time I get gas.
Does that actually add up to anything?
I'll make around $200 to $300.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code TRUNK for an extra 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank account, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code TRUNK for a 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code TRUNK.
Attention veterans, if you have a VA loan, you need to listen to this, especially if your current rate is higher than 6.5%. Now is the time to take advantage of the federal government's VA Streamlined Refinance Program. With my friends at Loan Pronto, you can. Go to loanpronto.com. Prosser here, and Loan Pronto has fixed rate APRs in the 5s. You can drop your rate now. Lower your payment with no income documentation and no appraisal. Do it at loanpronto.com. Their all-digital platform makes it easy. They can even cover your closing costs. If you need cash now, Loan Pronto can get you up to 100% of your home value. You can pay off all your credit cards or other debt and save as much as $1,000 a month. Call Loan Pronto now at 904-999-1508 or get a 30-second rate quote at loanpronto.com. Ask about streamlined VA loans, no income doc, and no appraisal. Loan Pronto, 999-1508 or loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
Time now for a medical recap. A health and wellness tip from Jaguars head team physician, Dr. Kevin Kaplan.
Rotator cuff tears are the most common overhead injuries I see. In order to avoid shoulder issues, make sure not to overload the front of the shoulder while also focusing on developing good scapular strength and maintaining flexibility in your lats. Proper hydration, nutrition, and supplementation are also crucial to joint and muscle health. Go Jag.
Your cooling system isn't working. Maybe somebody showed up with a portable electronic device. Then they discussed with you what your options are. Maybe they gave you an estimate that seems like an awful lot of money. What's the smart thing to do? When the situation merits a second opinion, get a Mike Merritt opinion. Yes, the Mike Merritt Comfort Team shows up with hand tools. We've never been able to fix an air conditioning problem with a tablet. Mike Merritt has been the trusted name for more than 30 years because there's never any hocus pocus. The Merritt team will walk you through the diagnostic steps up close and personal and show you exactly what you need. And the Mike Merritt price is likely to be far less because there's never an overtime charge, and the Merritt team doesn't work on commission. So remember, when it comes to the health of your cooling system, a second opinion can only help, and a Mike Merritt opinion can save you money. Florida license CACO 50384.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville, it's Hacker After Dark on 1010XL. Let's ring up another guest on the All-Pro Roofing phone line.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM in the city of Jacksonville. We're glad you are with us. Rookie minicamp for the Jaguars has arrived as the 9 draft picks, all the undrafted free agents, and a couple of veterans will be working out here over the next couple of days. And by the way, we are now inside of 2 weeks away from the first OTA of the offseason. With that, my buddy John Vogel, he's covered the NFL draft for years. The guy on social media, his handle is @DraftVogel, all right? This is what he does. You can check him out at the Sick Pod NFL Draft, and he's always kind enough to join us here on 1010XL in Jacksonville. John, how you doing?
Great. Thanks again, Ryan, for having me. Let's get into some of these Jaguars. You got a great class to work with here.
Well, that's nice that you say that, and a lot of Jaguar fans will like to hear that. Let's begin right at the top with Brian Thomas. Not only did they get him, but they also got a future third and a future fourth from Minnesota in that trade back, which I thought was great value. What do you make of Brian Thomas coming to Jacksonville?
Well, starting with Brian, I mean, we're talking about a big guy that can fly. He ran a sub 4.40, was absolutely dominant, 17 touchdowns last year at LSU, was a huge part of kind of unlocking Jaden Daniels and helping open up opportunities for Malik Neighbors. And that's kind of what you're expecting him to be when he comes down to Jacksonville. If you look at the receiver core over the last couple of years, you were kind of missing that number one receiver. I mean, you had Calvin Ridley when he was on the field, but it was missing a number one guy, like a go-to guy, a guy that's going to dictate the coverage downfield, and that's what Brian Thomas kind of threatens to become. Not just because he has speed, but because he's physical and he can make catches through contact. He's one of the top receivers, that I had graded last year, just because of the size, the speed combination, and then just contested catch ability. I think that's huge, making catches through contact and all those things. He's an underrated route runner as well. He's a lot better than most people realize. But he's awesome. Now, before we continue on, I want to point out that's a great point that you make up about the future draft picks, because that's where the real value was, in some of these trades when you look at them, because next year's class is really deep. I've already started on 25. My draft guide just became available for 25. So what you're kind of looking at is you've got a bunch of guys here, potentially 20 to 25 players per school in Power 5 that have a legitimate chance of being drafted at the beginning of the year. That number is normally closer to 10, 15. And so the depth in next year's class is going to be a whole lot deeper than what you saw in this class, which is why those picks next year are so valuable, because we're talking about, third, fourth round picks in this year you're going to get the same type of talent that you're getting in the second round this year. That's what you're getting next year with those picks. Only they're going to be later down the road, because every school is so loaded and so deep, full of talent. It's a very deep draft class. It might be the deepest one we've had. It's the last one that we're going to be dealing with COVID seniors for the most part. There'll be a few that straggle into the 2026 NFL draft, but for the most part, the COVID seniors are done. And this is the last year that we're going to have them in the class. Plus you have, we talked about it before the draft, I think, Ryan, there's 50 guys that declared as underclassmen this past year. That's down from 150 in 2019. So all those underclassmen that used to declare that did not last year because of NIL or for whatever reasons they're going to be in the class next year. And that just makes the draft class even deeper. We talk about 100 guys that normally would declare early as underclassmen. They're coming in as seniors now on top of the underclassmen list that's already there that will be declaring. That's a bonus of 100 players on top of the COVID seniors that you have in a normal draft class. So it's crazy deep next year.
Yeah, and the Jaguars have 6 of the top, roughly 135 some odd picks already there in the class of 2025. Brian Thomas is the big one. I want to get to the rest of the draft picks in a moment. But, John, while we're on wide receivers, there's a young man out of Texas San Antonio named Joshua Cephas that, in talking to people that cover the draft like you, a lot of people were surprised he did not get drafted. And the people I've talked to said that probably had to do with he was not a combine invite for whatever reason. The Jaguars made him a priority undrafted free agent. They brought him in. And there's a lot of people that believe he's going to make the 53-man roster or certainly challenge for one of those final roster spots. Do you believe Cephas is the kind of guy that flew under the radar and could potentially challenge for a spot here in Jacksonville?
Yeah, look, I think there's always a chance you can, right? But if you go look at the guys that got added on this, not just Brian Thomas, but Gabe Davis coming over from Buffalo, Devin Duvernay, that's going to take care of your slot. You already had Parker Washington, Christian Kirk, and even Seth Williams, from Auburn, last year, 2 years ago, whenever he came in. Seth Williams is a guy that's kind of there too. So it's a very, very, a loaded position group in terms of when you're trying to cut down to a 53-man roster. There's a lot of guys right there that are on the bubble. Duvernay's on the bubble. Washington's on the bubble. And I didn't even mention Elijah Cooks, who was already there, right? So it's a very, very deep spot. And, yeah, Cephas, he could. The one thing I think that kind of held him back was, first off, he doesn't have a lot of great traits. And secondly, he's really good after the catch. Getting him the ball is going to kind of be the question. Can you get him the football, get it in his hands, get him into space in a position where he can make a play? Because when you look at what they did with him at UTSA, he's not a great route runner. He's just really more so a running back in the open field that you're going to try to get the ball to and get him to break some tackles and do some different things like that, which, they could use. Every team values that, especially in a West Coast style system, very much like the Jaguars run. But with the competition that's already there, it's really hard to see him making the final 53. I think maybe as a developmental piece down the road on the practice squad, very well. He very, very, very much has a chance to make that.
John Vogel here with us covering the NFL draft. He has so for years. You can follow him on social media at DraftVogel. John, the other guys that they drafted, the two big tackles out of LSU, Mason Smith, Jordan Jefferson, 3 LSU guys in total. What do you make of the other two beyond Brian Thomas?
This made a lot of sense from a depth standpoint. And, I think there's not a lot of people that realize that the NFL draft or the NFL right now is going to a rotating front. So what that means is you really need to have 8 guys that you're going to put in your 3-4 man front, or if you're going to run a 3-4 style, you're going to have 8-9 guys that you're going to run through that front. And the idea is the more that you can rotate them, the fresher they're going to stay throughout the game against the offensive line group. Because right now the league doesn't have the offensive line talent to match that, with rotating their offensive lines. So you're going to get guys, in the third, fourth quarter, they're going to be worn down. So it made sense from that standpoint. But Mason Smith and Jordan Jefferson, both very fun players to watch. Jordan Jefferson, a little bit more of just a pure bull rusher. If you want to try to compare him to somebody, he's going to be a lot like Devon Hamilton was for you guys, or it has been. He's going to probably actually work his way into his role where he'll replace him when he comes off the field. And whereas Mason Smith's a little bit more of your gap penetrator, a guy that's going to try to shoot upfield and has the athletic ability to impact the play.
There were a lot of people that were not high on the Mason Smith second-round pick. I think it's a swing. If they connect, it might be a home run. If they miss, it'll be frowned upon to be a second-round pick, number 48 overall. Did you like the value there? Because the Jaguars' point, and at least the one I think they made, was we didn't have another pick till 96. We weren't going to get him in round 3. So if we were going to take him, it had to be at number 48.
Right, and if you couldn't move the pick, then you got to take – if he's your guy, he's your guy. That's what I've always preached, since I've been doing this. Really since I became wise enough to start doing it. Let's call it that. Because, you come in a lot of times to media thinking that you know everything and realize that you know nothing and you got to learn. But with Smith, I think if it's your guy, it's your guy. You got to go get him. If you have a specific plan in place, you have to go get him. So it is a good point. He wasn't going to be there at 96, that's for sure. He's going to probably be closer to the top end of the third round. But if he couldn't move back and you wanted to make sure that you got him, that's the place to go. From a consensus standpoint, I think he was kind of in that 70-80 range anyways. I guess you would consider that a reach. But now if you intend for him to, let's say maybe the plan down the road is to replace Eric Armstead, right? When he gets to a point where he's not what's the word I'm looking for? Old enough to play or too old to play. So maybe you get to that point and that's what you're bringing him, Mason Smith in, is to kind of play that role that's already occupied. And so if you have a plan to have him, as your starter 2 years down the road from now, then that's not a pick. That's a pick that we're going to look back on and say, okay, yeah, that worked. That was fine.
Final moments with John Vogel. We'll tell you all about his podcast and his draft guide coming up here in just a moment. 2 defensive backs come to Jacksonville. Round 3, Jarian Jones out of Florida State. John, round 5, they circled back and took DeAndre Prince out of Ole Miss. A quick thought on both DBs.
Jerry did a great job at the Shrine Bowl, but with his counterpart down there, Ronaldo Green. But, Jones, he's going to be a little bit more of a zone guy, a guy that's going to settle back into zone and read the quarterback and try to make a play on that way. He's not as reactive as some of the guys. And same to be said for DeAndre Prince. I think Prince has some nickel flexibility and can kind of work his way into that role where, when you got 3 receivers on the field, you take the third receiver and you can cover him. I thought Prince was a little bit underrated, and so I thought the 5th round was a good spot for him to go. That's probably where I would have taken him. Now you're talking about continuing to build that depth on the back end, and in the pass-happy league, you could never have enough good cornerbacks, and I think you got 2 of them.
You talk about guys that are underrated. It seems like Javon Foster falling to round 4 was maybe a surprise for some.
Yeah.
I guess you agree with that. What's your thought on the Jaguars' 4th-round selection?
Yeah, I saw Javon down there at the Senior Bowl too, along with a lot of these guys that got picked. There were several that were down there at the Senior Bowl. Smith was down there, and then Jefferson. But Foster, he can handle power. He's got good leverage and can bends at his knees, not his waist. So those are all good things. I was really surprised to see him in the 4th round, especially when you kind of consider some of the tackles that came off the board. Let me throw out a couple of little things here for you too. Keelan Robinson is an underrated weapon. Absolutely. He's a running receiver. Kind of, we saw a lot of these teams last year roll out these, slot receiver / running back types. That's what he's going to be able to do. And he's got electric speed. Cam Little, the kicker that you drafted in the 6th round, is a guy that I had actually with a draftable grade, so that's great for you guys. He's got a hell of a leg and put some really great balls downfield.
Did you get
go
a
look at
chance
that Texas A&M game?
Yeah, did you get a chance to talk to him in the pre-draft process?
No, not Cam.
He's an interesting guy. After he was drafted, he's only 20, right? He's the youngest kicker to ever be drafted. He is not a guy that lacks confidence, which I think for a kicker is a good thing. I think he's going to become a fan favorite here in Jacksonville.
Yeah, Cam has a leg, and I think that says a lot too about your confidence as a junior to declare for the NFL draft, knowing that you're going to get drafted. I think that says a lot there too, because there's not a lot of guys that have ever come out of college as kickers or punters or long snappers that had any remaining eligibility left. He took that chance and it paid off.
And then finally, Miles Cole. If there's ever a Trent Baalke pick, John, Miles Cole is probably it. He's a developmental guy, but he's absolutely enormous. Do you see anything to work with there?
I mean, anytime you have length and body types, that's a big deal, right? We talked. One of the things that I was taught very early on in my football formulation is, hey, there's only 5% of the American population that's over 6'2" and 200 pounds. So when you can find a guy that's 6'5" and he's 300 pounds and he can move, you have liquid gold on your hands. That's kind of what Miles Cole is. He's up there in that crazy length range, 35-inch arms, very damn near close to it. When you talk about power and length and all those things that you can do, if you continue to develop that upper and lower body and let him fill out his frame, he's a little bit light right now. You let him continue to fill out his frame. Now we're talking about a guy that's going to be a power rusher. He's got the length to make sure that he doesn't engage with people. So, he's got some usage with his hands and can get into the backfield. I was surprised to see that he made it to the 7th round, just from the tape that I'd seen of him. But I think that, you nailed it. That's a Trent Baalke pick. He loves, length. He loves guys that have that type of body build, and he killed it with that pick.
We got about 2 minutes to go. I want to talk about your draft guide and your podcast as we say goodbye. But quickly, seems like you're pretty high. Some people have not been high on the Jaguars draft. You seem to be pretty high on what they did, correct?
Yeah, I think that there's obviously going to be teams that come out, that you just look at and you go, wow, that's amazing. The Philadelphia Eagles this year, the Arizona Cardinals are a couple teams that come to mind where you just everything that they did with the draft was awesome. Especially with the movement and just controlling the pace and tempo and getting the guys that they wanted. But when you look at, I think honestly, the biggest thing about the draft as an analyst that what you have to look at is what's the plan, what's the mindset. Instead of looking at the picks and going, oh, I like that guy, I don't. You got to try to take your opinion outside of the box and look at what's left inside of the contents and say, okay, well, here's the plan. do I think this is going to work or do I think it's not going to? And I think the probability of some of these picks that they made actually hitting and making the impact that they're looking for is very likely across a lot of these. There are a lot of really good positional fits, and they fit a lot of needs that the Jaguars needed to fill.
And Jaguar fans will love to hear that. John, quickly, you mentioned your draft guide. You also have your podcast. Where can people find you?
Yeah, so everything that you can find out about me is on my Twitter account, or X, whatever we're calling it now. I don't remember, Ryan. At Draft Vogel. But the draft guide is basically it's the only thing that exists like it on the market. It's a live document, living and breathing throughout the entire season, constantly updated. You're getting the updates in real time as I'm doing them. So there's 20. It launched with 2,150 prospects in there already, and we're still going through the summer and looking at people, trying to figure out who else we need to get in there. And then lastly, on the Sick Podcast of Draft Vogel, the Sick Pod, I started doing that last year about this time with that network, and I've been absolutely blown away by the network and with everything that they do. The resources that are available to us, the people that work there are amazing, between, the owners, AC and Sammy, and, having the talent that they have, like Tony Mariano up there in Montreal and Adam Rank here in Chicago. It's absolutely phenomenal, man. It's a great group.
John, really appreciate the time. Know you're busy. Can't believe you already have 2,100 guys you're looking at for the 25 draft class. But if work never stops for you, brother, we certainly appreciate it. We'll talk again soon.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot, Ryan. Appreciate it.
And thank you to my buddy John Vogel. You can follow him on social media at Draft Vogel. John's been covering the NFL draft for years, and appreciate his time with us here on Hacker After Dark on a Friday as rookie minicamp. Enjoyed being out there earlier today. Had the opportunity to catch up with Jaguar 5th-round pick DeAndre Prince, and rookie minicamp continues tomorrow. We'll be able to review all of it on Monday when we reconvene here on Hacker After Dark, beginning at 8 o'clock. Well, that'll just about do it. What has been a very busy week. Appreciate you guys being with us all week long here on Hacker After Dark. Baloo's back on Monday in his time slot, 6 to 8. We'll be back in our regular time slot from 8 o'clock until 10 o'clock. We have a ton of people to thank tonight. Again, John Vogel, NFL draft analyst, for joining us this evening. Thank you to Justin Barney of Channel 4, not only talking Jags rookie minicamp, but high school spring football going on all over Northeast Florida. That's right, it's about that time. The Friday night lights will be shining bright in the not-too-distant future. And back in hour number 1, Max Chadwick of Pro Football Focus, talking Jaguar draft and also talking college football. Max is the main college football guy for PFF. Yeah, it's Pro Football Focus, but there is a college football element to it, and Max is one of the headliners of that. So not only did we talk Jaguar draft, but we certainly talked Florida, Florida State, Georgia, and Miami as well. And DeAndre Prince, again, mentioned him earlier, the 5th-round pick out of Ole Miss. Enjoyed catching up with him for that one-on-one during Jaguar rookie minicamp. We will be back on Monday at 8 o'clock, and we will do it all over again here on Hacker After Dark. JJ LaSelva was your producer tonight and all week. JJ, enjoyed working with you again, man. You can check out JJ every day, 4 o'clock to 8 o'clock on both the Frangie Show and Into the Night. Dylan Denmark will return with me on Monday. I'm the Hacker, Ryan Green. And again, Jacksonville, thank you for spending not only part of your Friday evening, but all week with us here on Hacker After Dark. As we always tell you, and we can't possibly tell you enough how much we absolutely appreciate it. So for all of us here on HAD, have an absolutely terrific remainder of your Friday evening and a fantastic weekend. And we will do it all over again Monday night, right here on Hacker After Dark, beginning at 8 o'clock. Until then, good night, Jacksonville.
He played for Jimmy Johnson, Bill Cowher, and Tom Coughlin.